All right, so let's dig into Booleans and their organization real quick. So with this UMesh selected, and it doesn't really matter what you have selected, it could be anything. I'm going to go all the way down here to the bottom. We're going to initialize this as a Q cube again. So if we turn on polyframe, it's just a Q cube with subdivided once. So now that we have that, we can continue to insert meshes and split them off and make them subtractive. You can also go over here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to append a cylinder here, and you're going to see my appended cylinder, the primitive, is actually quite a bit larger than my Q cube. So instead of scaling that down, what I'm going to do is take my Q cube, go down here to the deformation menu, and then hit unify. That'll make whatever that mesh is about the same size as the bounding box of a ZBrush primitive. So now they're both a little bit closer in size. So with the Q cube selected, I'm going to turn off polyframe. I'm going to go into solo mode here, and under geometry, we're going to turn on dynamic, and we'll do our Q grid, and then we'll change our coverage here just to kind of get a nice beveled cube there. And then we'll take our cylinder here, we'll go out of solo mode, and we can move the cylinder out. We can scale it down uniformly. And of course, in order for the Booleans to work, we can turn transparency off. We got to turn on this subtractive here. So now, with the live Boolean turned on up here, if you have a hotkey assigned to that, go ahead and hit that, or you can just hit that button. Or again, you can go under render live Booleans. And now we can see this is making changes. Now, you're also going to see it's faceted in here. So let's take a look at that. If I go into solo mode and turn on polyframe, you're going to see here's my cylinder. If you want to get rid of these extraneous edge loops, what you can do is go to here to geometry edge loop, and you can try hitting delete loops, and that'll kind of delete any of those loops. And now what we can do is we can hit D, which will turn on our dynamic subdivisions here. It'll just toggle this button on and off. Now you're going to see when this thing's smooth, it doesn't smooth very nicely, but we'll fix that. If we go out of solo mode and turn off polyframe, you're going to see this is now what we're getting as our smooth subdivided mesh. So in order to fix this, let's go into solo mode here. And what I'm going to do is under geometry crease, I'm going to change my crease tolerance to something like 54, hit crease, and that'll go ahead and crease those edges along the cylinder where the angle changes at a drastic amount. So now when I go out of solo mode and turn off polyframe, now we're getting a nice smooth cylinder into our object. Now if this transition in here is a little bit too harsh for you, what you can do is, right now it's giving you a dynamic preview of it smoothing up to 2. So I'm going to turn off live Boolean. And you can see from this outer edge here, what it's doing is if we turn this down to 1, you're going to see it's smoother than at 0. But if we turn it up to 1, you're going to see it's getting a little less faceted, but it's still maintaining a super razor sharp edge. So if we change this to like subdivision level 4, the outer edge is super smooth, but that crease is keeping this really, really tight. So what we can do instead, and this is all dynamic, it's non-destructive, we can take this crease level and change that to 2. Now I'm going to have to do Shift D to turn off dynamic and turn D back on, and that'll kind of give us a preview of what it's doing now. So right now it's creasing up to subdivision level 2, uncreasing everything, and then subdividing 2 more times. If you're getting a little bit of wobbling around here, so what I'm going to do is hit Shift D, and to alleviate that, what I'm going to do is go to BZM to get your Z modeler brush, hover over an edge, hit your space bar, and we're going to insert a single edge loop right here. So now when we hit D, that'll kind of ease that transition into that polarized cap. So if I turn live Boolean back on, and we got to do it to the other side actually, so I'm going to hit Shift D, turn live Boolean off, go into solo mode here, and now we can look at this side, and we'll just insert an edge right here, hit D to dynamically smooth that, and now turn live Boolean back on, and now we're getting a much nicer end cap as well as a softer transition on that inner edge. So you can, again, use all of these things to your advantage.